Alex Marquardt with CNN.
Thank you. Mr. Secretary, if I could start with you, specifically about the hostage and ceasefire talks. Can you share specifically what progress was made yesterday in Paris? The Qatari Prime Minister, after his meeting with you, he made it sound like a broad framework had been agreed to, and it was being taken to Hamas for them to take a look at. Do you believe that it is the language surrounding the end of hostilities that is the biggest sticking point? And if you would also comment on to what extent Prime Minister Netanyahu's comments about no Palestinian sovereignty, his leaked recording about criticizing Qatar, his ministers talking about resettling Gaza, to what extent has that complicated these conversations over an eventual deal? And Mr. Secretary General, following on some of my colleagues' questions, how much do you think Ukraine's war efforts are suffering because of the dwindling amount of U.S. aid and the uncertainty about whether more will be coming? How can you convince the U.S. and others to continue sending advanced systems and large amounts of aid when they say that supply issues are growing? Thank you.
So first, of course, look, the less said, the better in terms of where we are in pursuing a resumption of getting hostages out and back home with their families. What I can tell you is this. I think the work that's been done, including just this weekend, is important and is hopeful in terms of seeing that process resume. Recall that in the first go-round, we were able, with our partners in Qatar and Egypt, to get an agreement that resulted in the release of more than 100 hostages. And I believe that the proposal that is on the table and that is shared among all of the critical actors, of course, Israel, but also with Qatar and Egypt playing a critical role in mediating and working between Israel and Hamas. I believe the proposal is a strong one and a compelling one that, again, offers some hope that we can get back to this process. But Hamas will have to make its own decisions. I can just tell you that there is, again, strong, I would say, alignment among the countries involved that this is a good and strong proposal. And the work that was done over the weekend, including by CIA Director Bill Burns, was important in helping to advance this. As to comments that people make or that come out into the media, look, all I can tell you is this. It's my strong assessment that certainly Israel would very much like to see this process of hostages coming out resume. It may be, well, I don't want to speak for the Israelis, but I can certainly say from the perspective of the United States, because we, of course, have American citizens who are involved, this is at the very top of our list and has been from day one. And I believe that Israeli leadership and certainly Israeli society feels very, very strongly about it. So we'll see. I can't say anything more than that, but I can say that very important productive work has been done, and there is some real hope going forward.
The United States has demonstrated leadership in mobilizing NATO allies to support Ukraine, and I count on the United States, and I'm confident that the United States will continue to do so, because it is in the interest of the United States to ensure that President Putin does not win in Ukraine. And we have to remember that this is something we actually do together in all NATO allies and partners. As Secretary Blinken just referred to, European allies have actually provided more support in total for Ukraine than the United States. I commend the United States, but we must not forget that this is a joint effort of all allies, And if you put together what European allies and Canada are providing, it actually exceeds the US support. So this is burden sharing, joint effort by all allies together. And we do so in solidarity with Ukraine. But our support is not charity, it is an investment in our own security, because we know that this is closely watched also in Beijing. And we also see how China and Russia are aligning more and more, how China is propping up the Russian economy, including the defense production. We see how China is repeating and spreading the same narrative about the war as Russia, how China has failed to condemn the illegal invasion of Ukraine. And then we have to remember that just days before the full-scale invasion, China and Russia, President Xi and President Putin, signed a joint partnership agreement where they promised each other limitless partnership. So I understand that many allies are also concerned about China, but that's not an argument for being less concerned about Ukraine. Security is not regional, security is global. What happens in Europe matters for Asia, what happens in Asia matters for Europe, and today it's Ukraine, tomorrow it can be Taiwan. So therefore it is in our interest to ensure that we provide the weapons and support they need, and I'm confident that allies will do so. To make sure that we can do that, we need the money, but we also need to ramp up production. And I welcome what has been done in the United States. Tomorrow, I will go on Wednesday. I will go to Alabama to a factory there where they are producing javelins, Lockheed Martin, to recognize the importance of ramping up production. We have to understand that the fact that European allies are now investing more in defense is a good deal for the United States, demonstrating that NATO is a good deal for the United States. Just over the last 2 years, European NATO allies have agreed contracts for the US defense industry worth $120 billion. We need to do more, and therefore I welcome also that NATO has now, over the last months, actually agreed contracts worth $10 billion to ramp up production of ammunition, of interceptors for the Patriot batteries, and so on. That enables us to replenish our own stocks, but also to continue to provide support to Ukraine. So we are able, we have the will, and I'm confident that we'll have the necessary decisions both in the United States and in Europe to continue the support.